Hey guys, with the recent arrival of the Fullmetal Edition Volume 2, I thought it'd be fun to do a quick unboxing. So let's dive in. I've had Volume 1 for a while now, so with the amount of unboxing already on YouTube, we'll just do a quick little flip through. So here's the front, the spine, the back, and with all volumes it might be hard to see in this lighting, but there's a little alchemy circle in the back, depending on how you look on it. And then we get the inside. Table of contents. And of course the first page, which is a color page, and I really have to say, all the pages on this volume are super high quality. They all really pop, but especially the colored pages just look wonderful. And just a couple pages of that. And flip to the back. And we get the concept sketches, which in the original Japanese release of this, the Kanzenban, these were originally these were the front and back pages of the book itself, and what we get here was originally just a little slipcover. So I kind of like the way Vitz did it better though for the English release, how we get the concept sketches in the back of the book. And that is the end of Volume 1. So now we hop into the more recent release, which is Volume 2, of course featuring Alphonse. We get his color of this like nice, it's kind of like a blue-green, mostly a green. Here we go, the spine. On the back, with Al's blood seal. And this one we also get the same alchemy circle that you can kind of see in a slightly different spot, but you can kind of see it there. There we go, and then we flip it open to the inside again. Definitely like how each character kind of gets their own like volume and their own color to go with it. A nice picture of Alphonse. Table of contents. This goes up to the battle in Lab 5. And then the first page. Find the color pages in here. Here we go. This is one of my favorites. I really loved how the first series used this in the beginning of episode 19. And then we get that one. And then the concept sketches. And that is it for Volume 2.
So I just wanted to talk about some other miscellaneous notes I had about these volumes. I decided to read the Fullmetal Edition Volume 2 side by side with the original Volume 2 that came out. The chapter I decided to use was Chapter 7, After the Rain. And I wanted to read them side by side because I knew it was advertised Fullmetal was getting a new translation, but the original translation was pretty good as far as I knew. So I wanted to see what exactly they would be changing. And overall, not too much was changed. In terms of the actual dialogue for this chapter, I counted 2 lines by Scar that were tweaked a bit, 1 speech bubble from Al, 1 speech bubble from Ed, and then 2 words from Roy. And they were really just tweaks on, they said the same thing, they were just tweaks on the translation to kind of make it flow and sound better as you're reading it. There were also times where the sound effects and the speech bubbles they were hanging off the page. They got rid of that, and now they're just on the panel. Unless Arakawa specifically drew that way, they now are all within their little panel margins. I don't know why the old ones did it. I guess maybe because they were a little small, so when they were editing it, they just made it a little bigger. I'm not entirely sure, but now they're back in their proper panels. Something else was a lot of the old speech bubbles had a lot of ellipses used in them, the 3 little dots. So they got rid of a lot of those, and now they use actual commas and periods. Of course, there are still ellipses in places, but they're used more appropriately where there are actual pauses. And I just feel that it's overall a little easier to read a complete sentence versus just the pauses that they had. So I thought that was a good change. And within all the volumes of the new Fullmetal Edition, the actual font of the text is a little different. And I prefer the newer text. It just looks a little better to me. And then the other thing that they updated was the translation for their Ishvala, the god of Ishval. The newer editions have it translated properly to Ishvala instead of the original, which had Ishvara. So that, because sometimes in translation, sometimes R's and L's are a little similar, and it's kind of hard to tell what to go with. Same thing with B's and V's, how you have Fullmetal Alchemist 03 using Ishbal, and then you have Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood using Ishval. Apparently the Fullmetal Edition also features new sketches in the black pages between volumes. I noticed the sketch from Scar was a little different. Also, each, believe pretty much almost, if not all of the chapters in the Fullmetal Edition feature a sketch on the black page. That wasn't a thing in the original volumes. You'd get a little sketch sometimes, but not every time. In the Fullmetal Edition, I believe it's now between every chapter. At least that's how it was for this volume. Also, just overall, I really have to compliment the volume. The hardcover is very sturdy, the pages are really high quality, the colors pop, and even the black and white pages just look really good. The art, not to use the same phrase twice, but the art really does pop, especially now that you have these really high quality, kind of glossy white pages, instead of the kind of muted colors that feature in a classic in your classic Tankoban volume. And plus the images are now a little bigger because the Fullmetal Edition's slightly larger than the original release. So overall, if you're collecting Fullmetal Alchemist for the first time, the Fullmetal Edition is definitely a must-buy. It's really high quality, really good. The only thing you're missing, though, is in the original releases, I don't know if the 3-in-1s did this or not, because I don't own the 3-in-1s. I'm not a big fan of the thin paper they use for the 3-in-1s. But in the back of the manga volume, the author would draw a bunch of extras in the back. Occasionally, there would even be an extra comic. In Volume 3, there's actually a little bonus comic in the back, which is what Episode 13 of the original Fullmetal Alchemist series based off of, Fullmetal vs. Flame. That one is featured in Volume 3 of the original manga, but I don't think it's gonna make it into any of the Fullmetal editions. If it hasn't appeared yet, I don't know if it'll appear down the line. And a couple of other volumes have these little bonus chapters in the back that I don't think make it into this edition, unfortunately. Also in the back of the original releases are these little 4-panel are these little 4-panel comics, and they're always a good laugh, especially if you're reading and something really tragic happens to the characters. It's nice to kind of have these nice lighthearted bonus chapters. Specifically, again, going back to Fullmetal Alchemist 03 series, episode 13, the Roy Mustang miniskirts joke actually came from one of the 4-panel comics in the back. And something I will miss dearly is also in the back of every volume, she would draw a little rest in peace kind of dedication to any characters that had died that volume. But I guess that wouldn't really line up because the Fullmetal Edition does 6 chapters per volume, while the original manga was 4 chapters per volume. So they wouldn't be able to line up properly with each death per amount of volumes. Still very unfortunate. You also don't get the author's little speech bubbles at the beginning of the book, nor do you get any kind of character profiles. But in exchange for those extras, we do get the extra sketches in the back. So if you don't mind missing those extras, then definitely go with the Fullmetal Edition. The hardcover book, new translation and font, the higher quality paper, the colored pages definitely are an extra bonus for me. And then plus you're only buying 18 volumes instead of 27. Or you could be like me, who's entirely obsessed and plans to keep both the original 27-volume run and the Fullmetal Edition 18-volume run in stock. Alright, that's about all I have to say for this. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time.